And he said, I don't want to campaign for myself. You guys as the voters should be able to see who has an impact on winning. And then a few seconds later, he said, I think I am the MVP. I don't care if you disagree with me. And I think the numbers are starting to bear that out.
Cade Cunningham walked into Madison Square Garden, no Jalen Duren, no Isaiah Stewart, and dropped 42 points, 13 assists, and 8 rebounds on the Knicks. Just like that, sweep. The Pistons own New York this season. Listen, I don't want to hear any more debates. Cade Cunningham is a legitimate MVP candidate.
Cunningham, oh! Left hand, Cunningham with the crank.
He's dropping 25 and 10 every single night for the team with the best record in the NBA. This is not some cute little regular season story. The Pistons have the second best defense in all of basketball, a top 10 offense, and nobody is sneaking up on anybody anymore. They are walking into the toughest buildings in the league and beating teams. Full strength, shorthanded, it does not matter. They don't care about your matchups. They don't care about your home crowd. And they definitely don't care about your feelings. The guy setting that tone, the reason this team carries itself the way it does, is a 24-year-old point guard who might be the most no-nonsense leader in the entire league. So let's get into what is actually happening in Detroit, because this team is built different from anything else in the NBA, and it starts with the mentality of the guy running the show. Rick Carlisle has been coaching in this league for over 2 decades. He has seen every style of play, every type of team, and when asked about the Pistons, he said they are tough, they are physical, they play with an attitude, and they are mowing people down. Another veteran coach called them Model Ts in a league full of Ferraris. They don't win with elegance. They don't win with pace. They win by making you uncomfortable for 48 straight minutes and daring you to match their physicality. And where does that attitude come from? Straight line. Coaching staff to the roster to Cade himself. J.B. Bickerstaff walked into Detroit with what everyone describes as an old-school mentality. Dress code for practice. Nobody gets handed minutes, no matter their contract, no matter where they were drafted. You earn it or you sit. His first scrimmage, guys were getting into it. Scraps, dust-ups, and Bickerstaff said it was real. That is the environment Cade thrives in. He's not the guy giving motivational speeches and clapping guys on the back. He leads by going to war every single night and expecting everyone to match his energy. And if you can't, you are not lasting on this roster. Think about this. 2 years ago, this team went through the worst season in franchise history. 14 wins, a 28-game losing streak. And when Cade talks about that year, he does not dress it up. His exact words? It was a year. But there was not a single day where guys quit. No excuses, no feeling sorry for yourself. Just get to work. And now the roster around him has caught up to his standard. You are seeing what happens when a guy like that finally gets the pieces to compete. And the numbers back it up completely. Detroit ranked second in the entire NBA in defensive rating at 108.4, trailing only Oklahoma City. They lead the whole league in blocks per game at 6.7. They lead in steals. They rank third in points allowed. And their net rating of plus 8.3, second in the league.
Over there, McBride swatted into the stands.
This defense physically imposes its will on you until you break. Opponents are forced into contested mid-range jumpers and tough threes, because getting to the rim against Durant and Stewart is basically a suicide mission. On offense, they rank 10th in offensive rating, making them one of only a handful of teams in the top 10 on both ends. Their offensive identity is built around the paint. They lead the entire NBA in points in the paint per 100 possessions at 56.5, second in fast break points, second in points off turnovers. They force you into mistakes and then make you pay immediately. It is not pretty basketball. It is not highlight reel stuff. But it works, and it works against everybody. Now here come the skeptics. Sure, great regular season team, but can they beat real competition? Let me just read you their record against the other top 5 teams in the East: the Celtics, Knicks, Cavaliers, and Raptors. Detroit is 7-2. The obvious weakness is three-point shooting. The Pistons rank 21st in three-point percentage at 35% and 27th in attempt rate. In a playoff setting where the game slows down and half-court execution matters more, that could be a real issue. They also lead the league in fouls committed at 22.5 per game, the direct cost of playing this aggressively. If the whistles tighten in the postseason, foul trouble for Durant and Stewart could absolutely be a factor. But here's the thing. This team knows all of that, and they do not care. They have decided who they are, and they are not adjusting for anybody. That kind of conviction comes from the guy with the ball in his hands every single night. Cade is averaging 25.7 points and 9.7 assists this season. Those assists are second in the entire NBA. He's also putting up 5.7 rebounds, a career-best 1.5 steals per game, and he ranks 7th among all guards in total blocks. His finishing at the rim has jumped to 65%, a career high. He's converting through contact now, with both hands, with genuine power, not just touch and finesse. He got bigger, he got meaner, and he is punishing people at the rim because of it. Since February 1st, the numbers are borderline absurd. 27.3 points, 9.4 assists, 6.1 rebounds, 2.4 threes per game, plus 1.4 steals and a block. The Pistons are 23-9 in clutch games this season, best in the East, and Cade is the primary reason why. When the game is tight in the fourth quarter, this is a guy you trust with the ball, and he keeps delivering. No panic, no hero ball, just the guy who knows exactly what is needed and goes and does it. And despite all of this, the MVP conversation is still dominated by SGA and Jokic, both incredible players. This is not about tearing anyone down, but Cade is leading the best team in the Eastern Conference, putting up monster numbers on both ends, and the national media treats him like an honorable mention. JB Bickerstaff said it plainly. If the MVP is the person that makes their team the best, then it is Cade. But here's what separates Cade from every other star in this conversation. He does not play politics, he does not play the media game, and he absolutely refuses to compromise how he plays basketball just to get more recognition. The internet calls him an ethical hooper, a guy who does not foul bait, does not flop, does not manufacture free throws to pad his numbers, and he is fully aware of what that costs him. In his recent GQ profile, he was completely blunt. He talked about how people compliment the purity of his game, said that is one of the best compliments he's ever received. But then he followed it up with this. He said he's not getting the same foul calls, so people feel like this guy might be better than me, and he is nowhere near better than me. And then he went further. He called out 3 of the NBA's top 5 players, without naming them, as floppers, said foul baiting is the biggest problem in the modern game. Most guys in his position would never say that publicly. They would play nice, protect relationships, keep things diplomatic. Cade does not operate like that. He says what he thinks, and if that rubs people the wrong way, that's their problem. And that same energy shows up on the court every night. He does not complain to refs, he does not argue calls. He gets hit, gets back up, and runs the next play. Tobias Harris, who has been around the league long enough to have seen every kind of leader, had this to say. His composure is at a level you do not see in guys his age throughout the league. He is a winner. He really is. There are guys who want to win MVP and guys who want to win championships, and that is the actual problem. The NBA's award system and media ecosystem is set up to reward individual brilliance in major markets. Cade is in Detroit, a city that most national basketball media treats as an afterthought, playing on a team that wins through collective toughness rather than individual highlight plays. And he is choosing to win the right way rather than optimize his stats for voter appeal. He could average 30 a night if he wanted to. If he started hunting fouls like the guys he called out, his numbers would look even more absurd. But that is not how he is wired. He would rather let the results speak for themselves. And honestly, that mentality is exactly what makes Detroit so dangerous. When your best player does not care about individual accolades and only cares about winning, that filters through the entire locker room. Every guy on this roster plays with that same edge because the guy leading them sets the standard every single night. And Cade knows exactly where he stands. When GQ asked him about the MVP race, he said, "I think I am, and if you do not agree with me, that is your opinion." That is not a guy begging for validation. That is a guy who has already moved past the conversation and is focused on something bigger. And if you are a team that has to face Detroit in a 7-game series this playoffs, that should terrify you. And the other thing that does not get nearly enough attention is the roster around Cade, because this is not a one-man show. The depth of this team is a massive reason they are going to be a nightmare in the postseason. Jalen Duren is the second All-Star, and at just 22 years old, he might be the most exciting young center in basketball right now. He is putting up 17.7 points, 10.4 rebounds, and 2.1 blocks while shooting 63% from the field. His net rating on the court is a plus 11.3, the highest on the team, and he has a positive two-man net rating with every single player on the roster. His rim protection grade jumped 10 points from last season, and his partnership with Cade in pick and roll is becoming one of the most lethal two-man actions in the entire league. Teams have to pick their poison every possession, and there is no good answer. Osar Thompson might be the best perimeter defender in the NBA. Sports Illustrated named him the bad boy of the midseason, and if you have watched him play, you know exactly why. The guy guards anyone, any position with the kind of intensity that makes opposing wings dread getting switched onto him. Isaiah Stewart is the enforcer, arguably the best rim protector pound for pound in the league. He got suspended for 7 games after a fight with Charlotte, and somehow that just made the team's identity stronger. Nobody on this roster backs down from anyone, and Stewart is the reason why. Duncan Robinson gives them spacing, 2.9 threes per game, and the question around him is purely defensive. Can he hold up any playoff series when teams start hunting him? That is a fair concern. But the real surprise of the season might be Dennis Jenkins, the backup point guard, shooting 40% from 3 with one of the lowest turnover rates among ball handlers in the entire league. Detroit trading Jaden Ivey to Chicago was a direct vote of confidence in what Jenkins brings. And even Paul Reed, the depth piece nobody talks about, stepped up and dropped 22 points against Toronto when both Duren and Stewart were suspended. This is a complete roster top to bottom. Every guy knows his role and plays it with aggression. That culture of toughness and accountability that Cade sets, it's in every player on this team. And when you combine that kind of depth with a group that has already proven it can beat the best in the league, that's a scary combination heading into April. And one more thing, and it's the storyline that makes this postseason appointment viewing. The Knicks eliminated the Pistons in 6 games last year. This season, Detroit swept them 3-0 and outscored them by a combined 84 points. Cade averaged 26 points, 8.7 rebounds, and 7.7 assists across those 3 games. That 42-point game with no bigs, that was Cade telling the entire league exactly who he is. You can take our guys away. You can put us in the toughest environment in basketball, and we are still going to beat you. No excuses, no adjustments, just straight up dominance. That is not a fluke from a guy having a good night. That's a statement from a leader. If these two teams meet again in the playoffs, and with Detroit holding home court this time, it's going to be one of the best series we have seen in years. The Knicks know what's coming. Their fans know what's coming. And given what Cade has already done to them 3 times this season, there is no amount of preparation that makes that matchup feel comfortable for New York. The Pistons are the team to beat in the East and making a serious case for a championship run. Their core is between 22 and 24 years old, and none of them are afraid of anyone in this league. That fearlessness comes from the top, and it comes from a guy who calls out floppers on the record, who tells GQ he is the MVP without flinching, who walks into hostile arenas missing half his lineup and drops 42. The NBA's problem with Cade Cunningham is not that he is bad for the league, it's the exact opposite. He is everything the league should want to celebrate. A no-nonsense leader who plays the right way, makes everyone around him better, and wins. The problem is the media, the MVP voters, the people who control the narrative. They have been slow to recognize what is happening in Detroit. And if this team makes a deep playoff run, that problem is going to get a whole lot bigger. Can Cade win MVP? Drop your take in the comments. Hit the like and hype buttons. Subscribe for more videos like this and check out one of these on your screen right now.